Quay, my name is Keyaira. I'm 23 years old. I'm the mother to Cedar, and I work in my community as a band counselor and as the resource development consultation coordinator. I currently attend STU. I'm in the post-degree program doing my social work degree. So I chose to go into social work for a few different reasons. One, just to continue on in my education, and two, because I really liked the thought of challenging the status quo and, questioning the barriers that exist within society. I had just done 4 years at St. Thomas, and one of my majors was Native Studies. So I was taught by a man named Roland Christian, who really inspired that radical transformation within society for Indigenous communities. I also chose STU because I learned a lot about anti-oppression and decolonization, and I felt like it was a good fit. And mainly because I was accepted into the MMBSW as a pregnant woman, me and two other mothers. Babies were not foreign to the program. The program has been in existence for 15 years. There was never a baby policy, and there was never an issue with them going through. Often babies entered the program from newborn to infancy to toddlerhood. So I felt really accepted there. In our Indigenous communities, babies are welcome almost everywhere. There's not an event that you'll go to where you won't see small children and babies. So the fact that it was sold to me as a culturally relevant program really enticed me to enter this program. So traditionally, our babies stayed with us for the first 7 years of their life. And science is now recognizing and validating Indigenous knowledge in academia. But the answers have always been there. And, we recognize the critical importance of our children being with us from such young ages. My teachings are that children are the heart, that they're bringers of light, that they're bringers of truth, that they're divine creation that connects us closer to spirit and creator. And so as a mother, we have a moral obligation to instill these sacred teachings into our children. And so the mother-child relationship is one of the most important relationships that exists. And I think because of all the historical trauma that involves taking children from their parents has left a really deep wound on our communities. And a lot of our communities are, finally waking up and reclaiming and healing so that our children don't have to. And what we notice is that when our children experience adverse childhood effects, it really negatively impacts their psyche. What I've come to learn is that there are colonized First Nations people as well. Our people are heavily assimilated. And sometimes we take on those ideologies and those attitudes of the colonizers and of settler Canada. And so I think that it's super important for us to be able to challenge those ideologies, and we shouldn't have to fight for space in a reclaimed space that's supposed to be there for us. It's supposed to embody our truth. Given that the program is 15 years old and never had a baby policy, and that there was never an issue, really highlights the lateral violence that took place in the class. From the beginning, I was very startled. I made my position clear that I was a single mother. I was making straight A's. And that if I could do this as a single mother with a child who so many people view as barriers, then I should be respected and treated equally as everybody else, because I deserve to have an education just like everybody else in that room. But I felt very disrespected as a Woolstickway woman, especially given the fact that my voice was purposely muted and purposely shut out and purposely ignored. It didn't feel respectful at all, and that was alarming to me. And that's when I started to, get people involved, my chief, seeking different legal advice, talking to community elders, not just from my community, but from other communities as well. And even some Ilnu women, I really seeked out their perspectives. And everywhere I went, I was validated in knowing that you should not be experiencing this within academia, not in 2018 and not in an Indigenous program. I was just so appalled by the decision to ban the babies. And I fought like hell to make sure that my daughter would still be able to come with me. on top of, you know, trying to do schoolwork, I was stressed out. I was just negatively impacted by it all. You know, and I felt like it really affected my ability to get things in on time. It started just like affecting my anxiety levels. I would have mental breakdowns where I would just cry, you know. I remember my brother like walking by my room and he's like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And I just burst out crying, you know, like I'm so stressed out and I feel like I'm under attack. And he just said like, keep fighting, you know, like our ancestors are with you. Everybody that you talk to supports you, all elders support you, and that's what matters most. Not the bureaucratic process of support, is that communal connection. And he just really encouraged me to keep speaking out and keep, you know, speaking my truth. What I want to achieve is real accountability of their actions. I think that their decisions are rooted in patriarchy and colonial violence. This institution and all academic institutions operate from very harmful ideologies, right? That whiteness, that structure of whiteness really needs to be challenged. It's so ingrained in academia. And sometimes we don't realize when we're actually perpetuating these ideologies and when we're upholding them. And when we're not only just upholding them, but reproducing them in very violent means. So real acknowledgement and real apology. You know, the Native Women's Association of Canada, the Atlantic region, so the Mi'kmaq and Maliseet Women's Assembly, the Grand Chief of my nation, the Wolastoqey chiefs that I've talked to, my own chief, community elders, all these people support me. And when that many Indigenous people are saying, you've made a mistake, you don't get to hide behind your camera and try to make things look like you've accommodated and try to make yourself look like you're nonviolent, because you're being called out as a perpetrator of colonial violence and you have to own that.